All right. So I think we are about time now. So ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you here. Thank you for joining our special evening session. So I think I ran another evening session a couple of weeks ago. So this is the second one. So today I'll be sharing with you all about intellectual property reporting and what you can do to prevent any potential compliance issues. All right, so the session will last for about 45 minutes. The first 30 minutes, I will go through the topic, and then I'll leave about 10 to 15 minutes for any questions that you have. And also, there are some questions that was input by some of you already, so I will address that as well before we end the session. All right, so let's begin. My name is Jun Liang, and I'm the trainer here from Seller Education Team. All right, so this recording, or rather this video will be recorded and it will be shared in our official YouTube playlist. So do remember to like our playlist and subscribe, and then you'll be notified. So if you have any questions, let me know in the Q&A box. And again, if there's any information, especially things regarding policy, it's best to always check back to the latest video, or you can refer to our online resources in Seller University or Seller Central for the latest updated information. All right, so moving on. Now, I hope today the session will help to address some of the questions that you see here. Things like what you can do if somebody hijack your listing, etc. So this is the takeaway I want all of you to be able to understand when I end the session, okay? All right, first one, I will go through what are the types of intellectual property. So these are just some basic information. Again, I'm not from the legal, so this is something basic information regarding what is the trademark infringement. All right, there are some intellectual property types. First one is the trademark. So trademark are things like the word or symbol or design or combination, like the brand name or logo that you commonly see on a lot of the company. All right, and this is used to identify goods or services, and they are distinct, or in a way make them distinct from the other company. The next thing to share is a copyright. Now, what is deemed as a copyright infringement? So copyright is actually designed to protect original work, things like movie, songs, etc. So to be eligible for this type of protection, right, the work that is being created by the author has to have some certain novelty, something like if you are the author of an original work, right, so you'll be entitled to the copyright of the work. The third one is patent. All right, so patent is a legal protection type regarding invention. So we, usually heard a lot of these patents regarding like, published patents so that others could not manufacture the same similar product, etc. All right. So usually patent has a fixed number of years. So after that number of years, the patent may not be valid anymore. So common patents are like inventions, utility model, and then some design patents. All right, so those are the three intellectual property types that in Amazon you will be able to actually report on them. So I'm going to share with you what is the typical infringement reporting process. So as an intellectual property owner, you will be able to report on Amazon of any suspicious intellectual property infringements. So there are some features available in the Amazon brand registry that you can report on the infringement. So there's a way that you can do via a global search, all right, or you can do an image search if you think somebody is infringing on your image copyright, or you can even do a bulk ASIN search if you know that there's a few other products that actually infringe your product. I'm gonna just zoom on in. Yep. All right, so this tool is available to brand owners. So once you are registered in the Amazon brand registry, you'll be able to access the report a violation tool. So how it goes is that, first of all, you go to the reporting page, and then you search for the types of infringement and what type of content you want to report on. Is it the copyright of is it the image, or is it the ASIN itself? And then you choose the type of violations. All right, and then the next field that it might differ a little bit, meaning that depending on what type of violation you choose, you may be asked to provide additional information. So I will also share that in the next few example with you. All right, this is the step one I was referring to. Once you're in the Amazon brand registry page, right, you can see there's options under the protect. You can see report a violation. So step two is the part where you search for where the violation is. There's different method to search for that I mentioned earlier on. So also make sure that you select the right market, like whether it's .com or any other market that you are selling in, or or the market that you see where the infringement is appearing. Right, once you select that particular ASIN or product that you search already, you will be able to see a lot more other options. So whether you want to report the entire ASIN, or you want to report just a sub ASIN, which is a variation, all right, or you want to report even the image as well. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here. So this is the part where you need to select the type of infringement. Sorry, it's a little bit blurry here, but I can read out to you. So issue type that you want to report, it could be copyright, patents, or even trademark. Right. The next part is you will need to provide additional information to substantiate your report. All right. So these are examples. Depending on which type of the violation that you report on, it will ask you different set of questions. All right. But don't worry if you do not know what you need to provide, because throughout the reporting tool, there will be questions there, or even like tooltip to actually guide you along, so you know what exactly you need to provide. So some considerations, right? Always choose the right infringement type. And then during the reporting process, submit all the required documents that you have, all the materials, or the so-called some of these evidence or screenshots that you collected. All right, so you can escalate the previous report, but do your best not to report the same so-called do not repeat the same report, meaning that you don't keep on filing the same violations for the same issues, right? Because it will actually end up more delay. All right, so these two available is for reporting violation, only support the reporting of potential IP infringement. All right. So other than that, right, if you think it's more like a policy abuse of the Amazon policy, you will go to another section to report on, which is what I will show here. If you are going to report things that is not regarding intellectual property, those IP type I mentioned earlier on, then you have to go to Seller Central, Performance, and under account status, and report the Amazon policy abuse. All right, to make it clearer, I'm going to share some common scenario. So first example, right? So does the unauthorized selling of a brand via Sell Yours really count as infringement? So what is Sell Yours is, when you are listing a product, there's an option for you to search what are the products, right? So the list of product will appear, and then there's actually usually a button at the side that you can click to say that, oh, sell yours. You want to sell a similar product of that thing that you search on when you do your listing, right? So this is the question. If you were to use, or were there somebody using that sell yours feature, is it really counted as an infringement? All right, so the example here is that this seller, Mike, is selling some clothes, and then he kind of discovers somebody is selling his best product. But Mike knows that he hasn't actually authorized anyone to sell his brand. So he's apparently not very happy. So what could he do, right? So he could do a reporting of the violation, but do take note that selling the same product over here, right, is not equivalent to infringement. Now, only if the product being sold is counterfeit, meaning that it's not real, it's a fake product, then there's a trademark infringement, right? So as a seller, what you should do first is to prove that the product that you deem is counterfeit. First of all, do a test buy, right, to know that whether or not the product is counterfeit. And then if it's really counterfeit product, then you report a violation, selecting the trademark infringement. All right. So do note that remember to do your test, record down the test buy order number. Right, when the order arrive, submit the report. All right, with all the details that you have. Now, the second example is what kind of infringement is it for unauthorized image use? So again, the same seller, he discovered that another store has used the pictures that he used for his clothing for their own product images. So what can Mike do to defend it? All right. So although things like what we mentioned, copyright is automatically obtained, but how can we actually prove it? So you can, first of all, add a watermark to represent yourself or your business to the image to exercise your rights. All right. And then the time you upload your photo to your listing, you can also save the time that you do it. Right. That is to prove that you have the rights to the image. And also your original image, you can save the author informations in the attribute of the photograph. Right, there's something you can, I think, on the image that you have, do a right click, and most photo tools can actually edit some of the basic image meta notes. You can do that. Right. Also take a screenshot of the image author information that you have. So this will, be like your evidence when you are reporting it. All right. Now, obviously, if you have the original image, you will not delete it. So, the idea is that you would have the original image on your computer or your backup somewhere, right? So these are the information that you would definitely have. All right, always double check, prepare all the information that you have. All right, and then be consistent. So the image that you reported on, you need to submit the exact same picture. All right, so this example here, if let's say this image is the one you are reporting on, can you use this image as evidence to say that, oh, this is my image and somebody actually infringe it? The answer is no, you have to use the same image as the evidence, yeah. All right, I won't go through too detailed. This is just some of the situation. I think I mentioned the sell yours already. So what type of situation and what can you do to prepare to report it? All right, another situation is like falsely labeled item. Right, so some other seller actually use your logo on their product and packaging. All right, so that's another case whereby someone plagiarized the trademark. Right, so things like even bullet points, you can also report on, even the design wise as well. And lastly, is a very common one, which is a counterfeited product. All right, meaning that the person could be listing something that could be exactly like yours or something, but when the product came, it's actually not what was shown in the listing. So it means that it could be a product that is not original. So these are the top 6 things to keep in mind when reporting a violation. So this is something that I already talked about in the few previous slides, so don't have to go through too detail on this. So the next one is, what can you do and how do you appeal? For example, so this is important if you receive like a policy violation notification, meaning that somebody actually reported on your listing. First of all, you go into your account health. This is something that I would encourage all sellers to do. Whenever you log in, or at least that's something I do whenever I log into Seller Central. First thing to go is to go on to the account health. You can access that through Seller Central Performance. Go to account health to make sure that everything is green. Right. So if there's any potential violation, etc., it is best to address it as soon as possible so that you won't get any surprises or anything that may potentially impact your sales. So more common question is that if you got an infringement notice, does it really means that you have really infringed somebody intellectual property? All right. So if you do have something on your account health, you'll be able to just click on it. All right, and then you will go to the page where you can see what is the violation that's been reported on your listing or your product. All right, and then there will be options for you to select. All right, whether you want to appeal, etc. So an example here is, what if you infringe somebody's IP? What can you do? Now, firstly, you try to clarify what exactly is the infringement about. All right. So you can do some of the things that mentioned here. You can communicate with the reporting party to ask, what exactly is the reporting or what exactly is the violation, and if there's a way to withdraw the case. All right, and then proceed to remove all the product that you use on the packaging, assuming that that was something that is being infringed and reported on. And if possible, you can reach a compensation agreement and also provide refunds to the buyer. Now, this is just a specific example, assuming that the product it's not the authentic one or something like that. So along the line, yep. So to prevent any further infringement, right, you might want to check your procurement mechanism, whether or not is it due to supplier issues, etc. Do you have to actually arrange for any inspection during your logistic procurement process? So this is something that you want to take note of if, let's say, you realize that you indeed really infringe somebody's IP. All right. So the second scenario is, let's say, if you know that you did not infringe on anyone's IP, so what you can do a counter notice pursuant to the DMCA. So if a listing is removed due to the rights of the owner making a complaint of copyright under the DMCA Act, and you believe that it's not infringing, you can submit a counter notice. Right, again, the steps will be available in account health as well. All right. So you can click on appeal and there'll be an option for you to submit this. So in the counter notice, you need to include the following information, right? What exactly was the material that was removed or disabled, right? And where was it appear before it was removed or disabled? So you got to declare that you believe that the material, the infringed material that you have was either incorrectly identified as infringement or mistakenly removed, etc. All right. So these are the key information. Now again, when you do the counter notice, they will ask for all this information, so you do not have to remember what you need to. But one thing to really remember is that you should not do any false statement. All right, it may lead to any civil or criminal penalties. So be aware of this. All right, I have some frequently asked questions that I'm going to share, and then after that we can move on to some of the questions that's asked by yourself, and then to the live Q&A, right? So a very frequent question that I got is, I own a US trademark and complete the Amazon brand registry, but I don't have a Singapore trademark. Can I use the infringement reporting tool to report a Singapore ASIN? So this example is, let's say you have a trademark in US, somehow you are being notified or you happen to chance upon in Amazon.sg that somebody infringe your IP. So can you use the reporting tool in Amazon to report? Now the answer is no, because all the reporting, or rather the trademark, is region or country dependent. All right. So unless you also owns the trademark in Singapore, then you will not be able to report. All right, so in order to be able to report something like this, right, you also need to have a trademark registered in the Singapore, and then also under the Amazon brand registry that you include that trademark application inside. Only then you can report it. Got it? So remember that the trademark Amazon brand registry enrollment for the trademark, right, is actually country dependent. All right, it allows you to unlock the brand building tools, but in the case of reporting or taking down any listing, you won't be able to do that unless you own the trademark in the particular country of the market that you see having the infringement. Okay, so this is another example. So you are the trademark owner of a brand, ABC, and then you know that you actually completed the ABC brand registration on the Amazon. Then you found someone selling a product, but you know that you had never actually authorized anyone to sell a product. So this is more like a listing being hijacked. All right, but it is not accepted. Like, why? So the answer is here. Right, so unless unless the product is being deemed to be counterfeit, you can do that with a test buy. If not, then that's not available to report it. All right, and then another part is whether or not do you want to authorize a manufacturer or another seller to enter any exclusive distribution agreement for your product is subject to the seller themselves. All right, Amazon will not provide any assistance for any form of authorization of a product to be sold. Got it? So it could mean that somebody you might want to relook into your procurement process, etc. Yeah, is your supplier, is it selling the same things to another seller somewhere? Right, but again, this one really depends, right? Because this is regarding if you actually trademark your own brand, then that person actually put the same brand as you, but then it's a real product, all right? Then you won't be able to report it unless you test it and you realize the product is not the same as what you're selling. Okay, so I got a question from one of the seller. So this is really about online arbitrage model. So I know this is also quite common in the US, where a lot of the seller I've been hearing is trying to do online arbitrage model, meaning that in short, it's more like a reselling of product. So you manage to get from somewhere that is selling at a way cheaper, or you manage to get a product in a cheaper cost, and then you sell it at a higher price on Amazon. Right, so I mean, in general, I think you can do that, but it won't be a long-term and sustainable model, I would say, for a few reasons. Doing online arbitrage, right, you do not have a control on the product, right? So you're really depending on the source of maybe you get it from retail or get it from some other sources, right? So you do not have control on the product itself, all right? You'll be really relying on the retailer. Now, secondly, is you also don't have control over pricing and the margin. So if one day that your source of the product actually went up the pricing, you will not be able to react accordingly, all right? And you can't also scale, all right, because you might be limited by where the product that origins. You won't be able to scale well as well. It kind of limits your profit too. Now back to the question, right? So there's one question is, if there is a IP complaint, I understand that seller will need to show invoice as proof that product is authentic. All right, how about online confirmation order or receipt? My suggestion would be, because there could be a lot of different cases, so your best bet as a seller is to really submit as many information that you obtain when you have that product, and then the team will be able to evaluate and then reinstate any potential violation. All right. So the second question is similar. So if the invoice is not issued by the online retailer, there is only confirmation order, what other document should we provide? Similarly, you just provide whatever you have, and if it's deemed insufficient, they will actually ask you again on what are the documents you need to provide for them. All right. So the last one on this is what to do if seller receive a complaint and how to remove it. So I think I covered in the part about what to do if you infringe somebody's IP section. So you can watch the recording again if you need to refresh on that. Right. So basically, you have a few ways depending on the case. You can either do a test buy to report if it's something that is a counterfeit product, etc. Right, or you can you can come to agreement with the person who reports it, either through compensation, etc. Right, so do take note of that. The next question is about trademark, right? So I have a trademark, but the hijacker from other country just hijacked my listing. So this basically means that somebody is either putting the same listing as you, and then somehow because of this, you might lose the buy box, the feature offer, and then you feel that you do not have control. Now, first thing is make sure that you are registered. Your brand registry is registered in the market that you are selling and where you see that the hijacker is hijacking it. All right. So similar to the previous frequently asked question is that if somehow you see that the listing is being so-called hijacked, but it's in another marketplace, maybe not .com, but you are only registered in the US, Amazon.com, then you won't be able to do any reporting. So one thing you can overcome this is if, let's say in Singapore, your trademark has not been registered, you can go and register your trademark in Singapore, and then you'll be able to enforce and have the listing be taken down. All right, so that's all I've covered for today regarding IP infringement. I hope you are able to get something out of it. Now I'm going to open the floor for any Q&A. So if you have any questions regarding IP, or since we have time, it could be any other questions. If I know, I will try my best to address it for you. And then take note that we still have one more webinar on this week for the last one in September, right, regarding how can you build a brand with Amazon and Amazon Ad Solutions. So do sign up if you have not. And our October webinars is already out as well. You can also sign up in our official webinars and events page. And these are the topics. Now, if there are some topics that you are really interested in and you realize that it's not being covered anywhere, you can either let me know in the Q&A, or you can let me know in the surveys. When you close the webinar, there'll be a survey where you can enter more details. So yeah, it's a limitation of GoToWebinar. I won't be able to create a pop-up forms. If not, I would do that. So yeah, please let us know if there's any specific topic you want to know more, and then we will try to do that for you. A question. Thank you, Dobby, for your question. No worry, there will be a recording. So remember to subscribe to our official YouTube channel. So once I upload the recording, I'll usually send a notify the subscribers, so you'll be notified. All right, and then you can actually find it here as well. So this is our official Amazon Global Selling YouTube channel, and I've created a playlist actually to consolidate all the previous webinar. So you can go over there to review any past material that you miss. The link is also in your follow-up email, so don't worry. So usually after the session, right, you also receive an email from GoToWebinar. And then in the email, actually, you can see, even in our confirmation email, you can see the link. I usually share those two links where you can sign up and links of where you can find the webinar recording. Anyone? And Friday there is a in-person event, so if you actually sign up already, I'll see you there Friday in Amazon office as well. Any one of you sign up for the Friday in-person event in the Singapore office? Hmm. If you are not already selling on Amazon UK, there is a new session here. It's regarding on how can you start selling on Amazon UK or Europe. So something that I would encourage you to check it out if you are looking to expand into the UK or Europe. Okay, I don't see any questions from all of you. All right. So thank you everyone for your evening time with me. I really appreciate that. So for those of you who are watching this recording, do remember to like and subscribe to our official YouTube channel, and you'll get notified for any new videos that we have. So enjoy the rest of the evening, everyone. I will see you around for the next Amazon Live webinar. And thank you once again. My name is Julian. Goodbye.